الحمد لله وكفى والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when they ask you about me, O my beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, tell them that I'm very near. أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان. I accept the call of the caller when he calls. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then when my slave, he calls on me, I listen to the call. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants that we all make dua to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He accepts the du'as of everybody. There are few things that stop our du'as, and we should try to eliminate those blockers from our life. And the best way of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have themselves taught us in the Quran and in the Sunnah. Because they have adab that are present inside those du'as, the way of asking. The two things that attract the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and accepts the call of the caller are, number one, doing things according to the sunnahs, and then asking with the sunnah du'as and the du'as that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself taught us in the Quran. And then we can also learn the principles behind these du'as and the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us these du'as, and the rest of the du'as that we need, that we ask, we can also mold those du'as in the mold of the du'as of the Quran and the Sunnah. For the last few weeks we've been talking about du'as. We've been talking about, the adab, the etiquettes of the du'a. And then we started with the Sunnah du'as. And the last 2 weeks, I think, or maybe 1 week, we spoke about the du'a of getting up in the morning. That's the first thing that we do. That's from where we start our day. And then we did a dua to enter into the bathroom, and the dua after relieving oneself. So after a person gets up in the morning, and he gets up with that dua, قلنا دعاء الحمد لله الذي أحيانا بعدما أماتنا وإليه النشور. And then majority of the times what we do is we go into our toilets, washrooms, and then we spoke in detail about, that the places that are filthy are the places of the evil jinns, men and women. So we ask Allah Ta'ala's protection from them. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubuthi wal khaba'is. And then so we also spoke about the adab and the etiquettes and the sunnah of relieving oneself. And the next that we spoke about was the dua that we make after relieving oneself. Alhamdulillah alladhi adhaba anil adab afani. We spoke about it. We mentioned another dua as well. Alhamdulillah alladhi adhaqani lazzatahu wa abqa fi quwwatahu wa adhaba anni adabu. So a believer, a mu'min, after he leaves oneself, the first thing that he does every single morning is that he makes wudu. Because either he gets up pre-dawn or he gets up for Fajr. So either he gets up for Tahajjud or he gets up for Fajr. There is nobody who claims to be a believer is safe from any of these two things. There is no excuse for prayers. There's absolutely no excuse for prayers. People are bedridden, people are sick, people are in whatever condition, even if they don't have clothes, they're naked. Say they are in the middle of somewhere, somehow they got rid of they lose their clothing. For example, they are filthy, there is no way that they can clean themselves. There is no excuse for the prayer. It has to be in its proper time. So a believer gets up in the morning either before dawn or at the time of Fajr for either the Tahajjud prayer or the Fajr prayer. So the next thing that he normally does after relieving oneself is that to make wudu. So wudu is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us as a gift. Wudu is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given as a gift. And there is an inner dimension of the wudu and there is an outer dimension of the wudu. Wudu has an inner dimension and it has an outer dimension. The outer dimension is that it cleans you. And the inner dimension is that it purifies you. So in our deen there are two things, which is cleanliness and purification. And our deen has both of them. Our deen emphasizes on the cleanliness and the purification. So when the wudu is done according to the sunnah, in the sunnah way, then that wudu, although we are only washing our limbs, that wudu actually makes our heart, our spiritual heart, it enlightens our spiritual heart. It creates that mood in our spirituality. And it attracts the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The proof is that, for example, if one does not have the water to make wudu, what's the alternative? It's tayammum. Right? And if all requisites are met, and one does not have water to make wudu with, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that you make tayammum. Right? What is tayammum? Tayammum is that you make sure that there is some dust somewhere, and you tap your hands on the dust and rub it over your face and over your arms. So it is not actually cleaning oneself, it is making oneself dirty. So that is a proof, that's an equivalent of wudu. So tayammum also is a means of the purification of the heart. But when we do it with water, that is actual wudu, so of course it cleans us, but at the very same time it also purifies us. It also acts as the purifier of the heart. So wudu is not only to clean oneself, you should know that. It is actually to purify our hearts. So this wudu that we do, if we do it according to the sunnah way, it not only cleans ourselves, but it also becomes the means of the nur, of the light, of the attraction of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will clean our spiritual heart. Right? And that's why some people, they don't know what wudu is, right? And they say, the wudu is for cleanliness only. And they say, when you have already done wudu and your feet, for example, you have washed your feet, and now then you wear socks or shoes, and they say, the next time you make wudu, there's no need to wash your feet anymore. So that's why they do wiping over their normal socks. People should know, wiping over the normal cotton socks, wudu does not happen. If somebody, of course, there is wiping in our Sharia, but that is according to the Sunnah, which is or the leather socks. There is no wiping over the cotton socks or the normal socks. People say, feet are washed, feet are clean, so we can only wipe over that. We should know that wudu is not only for cleanliness. Wudu is for purification. Right? And the second thing is that we also have to have intention. We need to get the nur of the wudu. We also have to have intention. In the school of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, intention is not a mandatory thing in wudu. But if we need to get the reward, if we need to get that nur, if we need to get this, the purification of the heart, then intention is necessary. That intention is necessary. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The actions are by intentions. Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi defines it as the reward of the actions is through intentions. If somebody does not make an intention while making wudu, right, and he only washes their feet and their hands and all of that and their feet, they will get the cleanliness and they will also get but the true purification that's required from wudu, they will not get that. That's why if somebody makes a wudu, so they clean everything, to make all the wudu. Right after somebody makes wudu, they pass gas. For example, they break their wudu. Sharia says, make wudu again. Why is that? You've just washed everything. The concept is that wudu is not only for cleanliness, it is for purification. It is to get that nur. It is to purify your inner self. Right? And the other thing is that it also enforces on us that we are the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in all of what Allah ta'ala has told us. We are not after the logics. Oh, we do this because of that, we do this because of that. This is the proof. We have just washed everything. If we pass gas, we wash everything but the place where the gas has come out from. Right? That means that we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala absolutely, 100%. We submit to Him 100%. We are not after logics. Deen is not about finding logics. Deen is about submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is a difference between purification and cleanliness. In our deen, both are required. And with wudu, both are achieved. Right? So whatever Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say that it is pure, it is pure. And if Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says something is not pure, it's not pure. For example, pig. If you wash the pig as much as you want, with soap, with shampoo, whatever, you just clean it absolutely. But still Allah Ta'ala has said it is impure. Alcohol. Somebody, they put alcohol and they pass the alcohol through whatever process. Make sure that all bacteria are killed absolutely. There are zero bacteria in that. Looks like it's very clean, but it's not pure. Okay. Or, for example, there's a bucket of water. One small little speck of urine falls into it. Small quantity of water. Allah Ta'ala says it becomes impure. Now if you use that water and put it in the washing machine and put your clothes in, right? So look, and you put the soap and everything, whatever you want. So the clothes will look clean. They will be clean. There will be no dirt on that, but they will not be pure. So in our deen, we need purification and we need cleanliness. And the proof is that Allah Ta'ala also wants us to be clean. Is that on the day of Friday, what is the sunnah? The sunnah is that you take a bath, to take a bath. You take a shower, and that shower is bath is not the bath from impurity. That's a bath of cleanliness. That's why Imam Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, he says that if you take a bath on the day of Friday and then you go to the toilet and relieve yourself, and then again make wudu and go for the Friday prayers, that reward you were supposed to get for taking bath before going to the Friday prayers is not achieved. Because this bath that we take is not the bath of impurity, to get rid of the impurities. It is the bath of cleanliness. That's why it is in our sunnah that we go for the congregation, especially Friday prayers. We wear our best clothing and we put on perfume. And we take a bath, put on our best clothing and put on perfume. This is all cleanliness. No impurity is achieved through all of these things. Although, of course, you also get the impurities also removed when we take a bath, for sure. But these are all for cleanliness. And the people, some people are so proud of, some people who don't believe in all of this, and they look very clean. Subhanallah, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are impure. They may look clean, but they're impure. If somebody passes stool or urine, and they only clean it with toilet papers, right? Impurity is is not removed with that. We need to use water to clean all of that. You need to use water if it's in large quantity. Otherwise, people are not pure. In the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're impure. They might, they can claim that they are clean. And some people, what they do is they clean with tissue papers and then they open they put a stopper in their bathtubs and, they fill it with water and put on like soaps and bubble bath and all of that. Go and lie into that. They are already, the filth is somewhere in them and they make the whole, tub dirty. And they sit in that and they come out, put on like clean clothes, put on perfumes and feel as if they're very clean. They might be, clean, but they're impure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be clean and He wants us to be pure. Right? That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, don't hurt people. Even if you have eaten onions and the smell is coming out of your mouth, don't go to the masjid in that state. So Allah Ta'ala wants us to be clean, He wants us to be pure. Inna Allah yuhibbu tawabin wa yuhibbu al-mutatahhirin. Allah Ta'ala loves the people of purity. So Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us everything. This is our deen. This is our deen. Even how to clean ourselves. A Jew, he came to the Sahabi radiallahu anhu, came to Sayyidina Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu, and he said, "Allamakum nabiyyukum kulla shay'in hatta al-khahar." That your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam teach you everything, even these filthy things, how to clean yourself. How to relieve yourself, how to clean yourself. This is what your Prophet teaches you. So he was making fun. He thought that the status of a Prophet is far higher than teaching these small little petty things. But Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu, he was so proud of that. He said, yes, this is our beautiful beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has not left us in dark in anything. This is our deen. He teaches us every single thing. Every single small little minute thing. He teaches us everything. This is the beauty of our deen. So with wudu, we achieve the purity and we achieve the cleanliness. We achieve the inner purity and we achieve the outer purity. Right? And this is, we should know that wudu is something that brings in the nur if it is done in the right way. It brings the purification of the heart if it's done in the sunnah way. Right? That's why we should be also focused during wudu. That's why we are discouraged to talk during wudu. Because it is not something, it is that we are doing without any intention, or without any focus on that. It is an ibadah, it's a source of worship. It is a worship by itself. So we are not heedless when making wudu. We are very watchful and we are fully into it when we are making wudu. And we should have this intention that with this wudu, I'm not only getting the cleanliness, but I'm also getting the purification of the heart, if it's done the right way. What's the right way? The right way is that number one thing that we do in wudu is that we start with Bismillah. We start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay. We start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And before that we should make an intention. We should make an intention, doesn't have to be with the tongue, but in the heart. Intention is of the heart. We should make an intention that the wudu that I'm going to do, it is a means of my cleanliness and it's a means of my purification. It's a worship and I'm worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by washing my body parts. And we start with Bismillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And we should also have an intention that I'm doing it according to the sunnah. I'm doing this wudu according to the sunnah. Right? When we have all these intentions and we start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it will become a source of the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? In one of the hadiths, Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that whoever takes the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then does wudu, then that wudu will become the purification of all of his body parts. All of his body parts. And if somebody does wudu without saying Bismillah, then only those body parts will become will get purified, that he has actually washed. That he is actually washed. So if somebody says Bismillah and then makes wudu, then not only our hands and our arms and our faces and our head and our feet will become purified, but all of the body parts will become purified. Just think about that. What sort of effort do we go through just by reciting Bismillah? Just Bismillah. It is so easy to recite Bismillah. No energy is, spent when somebody says Bismillah. But when somebody makes an intention, he says Bismillah, and then does wudu according to the Sunnah way, that wudu will become light for his heart. He will achieve the cleanliness and he will achieve the purification of the heart. And if somebody does not recite Bismillah, then he loses all those barakah, those blessings. And the second thing what happens is that wudu becomes the source of the washing of his sins. That will become the source of the washing of his sins. That's what's happening when we say the purification of the heart, the nur, the light and all of that. Actually what's happening is that the sins are getting washed away. Sins bring darkness, and the righteous deeds, they bring light. And if somebody does righteous deeds and then sins, all of the nur that he achieved, it gets drained away through that sin. And I spoke in detail in the last Monday retreat that I had in the UK. So when somebody says Bismillah and then does wudu, looks like outwardly that his dirt has been removed from the face. The dirt has been removed from the arms. The dirt has been removed from the feet. But in reality what's happening is that all the sins that people have done through the hands, through the eyes, through the nose, through the feet, all of those are washed away. What sort of sins? That our fuqaha has defined as saghira, as minor sins. I also said in the last Monday retreat that there is no sin when people are on the path of spirituality, when they're on the path to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no sin as a minor sin. Every sin is very detrimental sin. Every sin is like cancer. There is no sin, absolutely no sin that we can consider as a minor sin. Every sin is a big sin. But the sin that our fuqaha has defined as minor sins, with wudu, all of those minor sins are removed. Right? So when we wash our hands, all the minor sins that we have done with our hands are removed. When we wash our face, the minor sins that our eyes have done are removed. When we wash our feet, the places where we've gone to for the minor sins, the effect of those sins are removed. Right? But no kabira is removed with the wudu. We have to make proper tawbah for the removal of the major sins. And we should also know that if people are consistent in minor sins, those minor sins also become major sins. When people are consistent in doing minor sins that our fuqaha has defined as minor sins, they also become major sins. So major sins can only be removed through tawbah. The huquq al-ibad can only be removed through tawbah and asking for forgiveness from those people. They're not removed through wudu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that in the Quran, about the minors, that in tajtanibu kaba'ira ma tunhawna anhu nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum wa nudkhilukum mudkhalan karima. That if you save yourself from the kabira sin, from the major sins, the smaller sins, the minor sins, I will compensate for you. And I will grant you an honorable praise, that is paradise. In another place Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Innal hasanati yudhibna sayyi'at. That the good actions, they remove the bad actions. They remove the bad action. Then this is what happens when people make wudu. Right? So if people have committed any minor sin without any, without insisting on that minor sin, then wudu, prayers, Fridays, they remove all of that from our heart. So when we start with the name of Allah, Bismillah, this is a dua that I want to talk about today. Bismillah, it's a dua. It's a dua, Bismillah. I start with the name of Allah. In other words, Ya Allah, I seek your blessing through your blessed name. This is a dua that's hidden in Bismillah. Ya Allah, I seek your blessings and your mercy through your blessed name. I start with the name of Allah. This is a dua that we should make when doing wudu, when we start wudu. So when we start with Bismillah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will shower us with that nur and we'll make wudu. This Bismillah is a beautiful dua. It's a beautiful dua. It's the dua to attract the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in one of the hadiths, he says, كُلُّ أَمْرٍ ذِي بَالٍ لَا يُبْدَأْ فِيهِ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ أَقْطَعُ. That anything, be it the worldly thing or the thing of the hereafter, if it is not started with Bismillah, with the name of Allah, then that's cut off from the mercy of Allah. فَهُوَ أَقْطَعُ. That's cut off from the mercy of Allah. That means that will have no barakah, no blessings, that thing. That is not started with Bismillah. So Bismillah is a dua. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is a dua. That Ya Allah, I seek your mercy. Ya Allah, I seek your blessings. I want that the thing that I'm going to do, you shower your mercy on this thing. And all the nur that is supposed to come through doing that righteous deeds, because everybody will do a righteous deed when they're going to say Bismillah, right? Nobody is going to go to the cinema hall with saying Bismillah. Nobody is going to go and, browse these, shaitani websites saying Bismillah. Of course, when somebody is saying Bismillah, then he's going to do a righteous deed. But the nur, the light that comes by doing that righteous deed, it only comes when we say Bismillah before doing that. Right? So what's the wisdom behind saying Bismillah? What is this dua all about? Why does Prophet ﷺ is saying that anything that's not started with Bismillah, that's that's cut off from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It looks like that it is completed. So why is there so much importance of saying Bismillah? And in fact, some of the things are not even valid without saying Bismillah. For example, sacrificing of an animal. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what does He say? وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that any animal on which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala His name has not been taken, do not eat that. Because it's sin. Because it's sin to eat any animal on which Allah's name has not been said before sacrificing. It's not even halal. It's just as if you're eating pig. It's as if you're drinking alcohol. No difference. On an animal that you eat that's sacrificed without saying Bismillah, there's no difference between that animal and a pig. There's no difference between that animal and alcohol. There's no difference between that animal or any other haram thing. Why is that? It's an amazing thing, right? Somebody can ask a question, what effect has it made to the animal? We've cut all of these 3 veins and all the blood has come out and all what you talk about, the blood should not remain because it will make the flesh unhealthy and this and that, all of that. What difference does it make by saying Bismillah on that animal? The reason is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us to say Bismillah, I'm just giving an example here, that saying Bismillah on an animal when you slaughter that. There Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to wake up. Right? Allah ta'ala wants us to realize that this animal that you're going to slaughter, what are you doing? It's an animal. It's a living being, just like you. He feels the pain. It's an oppression to kill somebody that's living. If somebody sacrifices you, if somebody cuts your throat, just imagine what sort of feeling will you go through. It's a similar thing. Okay? It has also life. Why are you killing an animal? Do you ever think that I'm oppressing a living being? No, just for our taste, because we love barbecues, because we love all of these steaks. That's why you are killing. That's why you're oppressing an animal. There is only one reason that we are killing an animal, and that is that the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made that animal is because of us. هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Allah Ta'ala says that Allah Ta'ala has created for you, O humankind, whatever is on the earth, every single thing. Every single thing, O human being, I have created for you. And you have been created for me. So the only one reason that you are killing this animal is because Allah has created it for you. And the reason that these animals have been created is so that you benefit from it. And if you forget about Allah at that time, you don't realize that. If you don't admit to this thing, this reality, that by default, as a principle, this was, to oppress this animal is haram, by default. But because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it beneficial for me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it halal for me to kill this, in a certain way, but unless and until we realize that and we take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that animal, that will never become halal again. So that's, we are admitting to something. So when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim or Bismillah Allahu Akbar, it's not like a magic. We're not like doing a magic on that. Bismillah. That, suddenly something changes in that animal. No. It's a realization. Right? That I have realized and have admitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Bismillah. I do it with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has this right that He makes halal whatever He makes halal. And He makes haram whatever He makes haram. This is a realization. And if somebody does it in heedlessness, that means that we have not realized this blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have not fulfilled the rights and the conditions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked us to fulfill before we sacrifice it. Right? وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ. Don't eat that on which Allah's name has not been taken while sacrificing. The second thing in Bismillah, as I said, is that, now that this animal has been sacrificed for you and is halal for you, but what's so important in you? Do you think you're made of gold? You are also, you're a dirty being. You've been created from dirty things. You carry all this filth in your stomach and your intestines all the time. What's so good about you? Why can't you be sacrificed? What was wrong with that animal? It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who allowed that animal, that you eat that animal by sacrificing that animal. Right? You could have removed your hunger with vegetables, with leaves. Why do you have to kill somebody in order to, fulfill your desires? You're not very different. So Allah, when we say Bismillah and we do it according to the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked us to fulfill, then in other words, number one, we realize that. Number two, we also realize that we are also created for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are also created for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's our purpose of life. We eat that, but with eating that, we eat that because Allah has allowed us to eat that. And two, that energy that we are going to get by eating that, we are going to use that energy for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we realize at that time. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah Ta'ala says, I have not created any man and jinn except that they worship me. That's the purpose of our life. That's what we realize when we say Bismillah. So Bismillah is an amazing dua. Ya Allah, I seek your mercy, I seek your blessings through your name. Right? So we should say Bismillah before doing anything. Before doing anything, especially, we're talking about wudu, we should start with Bismillah. Because the nur that comes in wudu, by doing wudu, the purification of the inner being, the purification of the spiritual heart, that only comes by saying Bismillah. So we should always remember Bismillah, my friends. With everything, every single thing that we do. That also tells us that we should be only doing good deeds. It's also, it's a filter. If, for example, we start doing, if we have to lie and we say Bismillah and then lie, it's a filter. Oh, I'm saying Bismillah and I'm lying. If somebody cheats and say Bismillah, oh, I'm cheating and say Bismillah. It's a filter, this dua. Me and my son, we play cricket. And we know that we have to start with Bismillah and we have to start playing. We should teach our kids. Playing, eating, drinking, walking, going out of the house. Every single thing we start with Bismillah. There's a philosophy behind Bismillah. We realize, Ya Allah, everything that we do is because of your tawfiq. Everything that we do, Ya Allah, is because of your help. Ya Allah, anything that I do has no value absolutely except that you shower your mercy and your blessings on this thing that I do. Because there is no nur that I get through doing this righteous deed except that you shower your mercy and you accept it and you send your blessings on this. Drinking water. We say Bismillah. It reminds us, if we want to reflect. This water that we are drinking, have you ever reflected on what is this water? We only, buy our, the gallon bottles and you put on, our, whatever you call it. And we eat it and we drink it and we don't even realize that what are we doing. This water is a huge, huge blessing. When we waste it, when we're brushing our teeth and this water is gushing down our taps, we don't even realizing what are we wasting there. Huge blessing. There's still, in this day and age, there are people who have to walk like for miles and they take water from wells and they take it back and they use it all day. Little water. They don't waste it like us. There's still people who live in this day and age who drink water that's not even transparent. That's like chocolate. Brown in color. You don't realize what we do what is water. We drink water standing, number one, without even following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said, sit and drink. Drink with saying Bismillah. Drink with 3 sips and 3 breaths. We don't even follow that because we don't realize what are we doing. That's not a believer's status. This water, behind this water, it's an amazing, it's a process that it goes through before it comes to us. Water is such an important thing. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. Allah Ta'ala says that from water I've created every living being. If there is no water, then a person dies. If there is no water, then a town, it dies. A living being dies. There is no living being without water. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created 2/3 of the world with water. And 1/3 is dryness. Right? What if, if it was only in the sea? And even sea, subhanallah, it's the salty water. If it was sweet, then there is a universe in the sea. There's a universe in the sea. In fact, what we see outside possibly is even more in the sea. And all of those, the creation of Allah Ta'ala in the sea, they die, and their dead bodies are in the sea. If the water wasn't salty, then it would have, the whole water of the sea would have become filthy. It's because of the salt in the water that it keeps it pure. What if if we had to drink that salty water? What if we had to take water only from the sea? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has made a process that when it becomes hot, then it becomes, it evaporates, it goes, it becomes, the clouds are made out of that, then those clouds travel, they go to other places, then it rains. Allahu Akbar, like a cargo system. Right? Allah Ta'ala carries all of that water without any of the human's effort and takes that water on the mountains and it showers. The water, it falls on the mountains and it's cold on the mountains. When it falls, it becomes snow. It's a cold storage. It's a cold storage. So that, when it doesn't rain, then it remains there. And when the sun shines and, it becomes warm, then it melts. And it melts and it goes through the towns without any of human's effort. And when it goes, then then the rivers and the streams, and people just pick it up. And during that process, all the saltiness also goes away. It becomes sweet. Allah. This is Allah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, just say Bismillah. Realize this very fact, that I am the one that provides you the water. I am the one that provides you everything. This water that you're going to use when doing wudu is my ni'mah. This nur that you get just by washing your body parts. What a mercy of Allah. What a mercy of Allah that we sin with our hand, and we sin with our eyes, and we sin with our ears, and we sin with our tongue, and we sin with our limbs. And just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a process, this water, this is a blessing. That's a blessing. You wash your body, some body parts with the right intention, with the sunnah of my beloved sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I will purify your heart I will clean your heart from those minor sins that you do. All that you have to do is ask me of my mercy. All that you do is ask me of my blessings. And I'll make that water to which you wash your body parts, few body parts, I'll make that as a source of your purification. I'll make that as a source of the enlightenment of your heart. Allah. This water is an amazing thing. Don't waste water during wudu. Don't just leave it open when doing wudu. Use it with care. It's a blessing. It's a huge blessing. We don't realize that. What a big blessing is this. And subhanAllah, as we mentioned last time, when we drink it, it goes into our bodies. Then Allah Ta'ala has created such a beautiful system within us that all the body parts that need it, Allah Ta'ala has created a system that it goes into those body parts by default, without us doing anything. And then it also comes out. If it doesn't come out, then if the body parts get more water than they need, then it swells. We can get tuberculosis if it goes into the lungs, and all of those diseases. If the kidneys stop working, then there is nothing that can replace those kidneys. Harun al-Rashid, rahmatullah alayhi, one of the very pious caliphs, there was a very pious man that used to be near him. His name was Bahlul, rahmatullah alayhi. Once Harun, he always used to be with the caliph. So once Harun al-Rashid was about to drink water, he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, just imagine that you are in the middle of a desert, and you are very thirsty, and you have to drink water. You want to drink water, and you don't get water. And you're so thirsty that you're about to die in the middle of the desert. And somebody brings you, half a glass of water, and will tell you that I'm going to give it to you if you give me half of your kingdom. What will you do? He said, I will definitely give him half of my kingdom, and I'll take that glass of water. Because I cannot live without water. If I don't take water for some time, I'll die. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. Allah Ta'ala says that. He said, okay, realize that. Say Bismillah and drink it with Sunnah way. Harun al-Rashid realized. He said Bismillah and he drank it. So Bahlul then said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, this water that has gone into you, say it doesn't come out. And you get some sort of a disease that it remains within you. And this becomes filth at the end. And you are in pain, you are crying, you are somehow, it becomes a source of harm within you. If a doctor comes to you and tells you, I will take it out from you, I'll cure you of this disease if you give me half of your kingdom, what will you do? He said, I'll give him half of my kingdom, of course. Otherwise I'll die. He said, Harun al-Rashid, your kingdom doesn't even worth one glass of water. That's all what it worth. Not even a glass of water. This glass of water that you're drinking, if you don't get it, you will be ready, if somebody gives it to you, you'll be ready to give half your kingdom. If it doesn't come out, you will be ready to give half of your kingdom. What does your kingdom worth? That's all what it worth. And we don't even say Bismillah when drinking water. We can't even sit down and drink water. We can't even drink it with three breaths when drinking water. And then we call ourselves believers. We say Bismillah ilaha illallah. So this Bismillah is a beautiful dua. It's, first of all, calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy. Because anything that's done without saying Bismillah فَهُوَ أَقْطَعْ, that's cut off from the mercy of Allah. There is no nur that comes with that righteous deed. Why do we do righteous deeds? We do it so that we can gain that nur in our hearts. But when we do that without mentioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, without invoking the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through saying Bismillah, then that nur doesn't come. That nur doesn't come. Right? So with Bismillah, number one, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, shower your mercy, shower your blessings on this thing. Make it as a source of light for my heart. And the second thing is that we realize, Ya Allah, we are weak. We are weak individuals and we cannot attain anything without your help, Ya Allah. We cannot do anything except with your help. This water that's going within us, it can cause destruction within us if you want it. But we ask you, Ya Allah, make it a source of blessing. Don't make it cause destruction within us. Ya Allah, make it a source of blessing. Ya Allah, this wudu that I'm going to do in the morning, Ya Allah, make it a source of blessing. Ya Allah, make it a source of the washing away of my minor sins that I do all the time. Ya Allah, make it a source of the nur that comes in my heart through this wudu. Ya Allah, make it a source of the purification of all of my body parts, although I'm only washing a few of my body parts. This is the dua that we make when we say Bismillah before doing wudu. And it also reminds us that, this wudu that I'm going to do is not, it's not a habit, it's a worship. It's not an aada, it's an ibadah. Just like when we stand up for praying, it's an ibadah, it's a worship. This wudu is also a worship. This reminds us of that. So we all need to realize that. We all need to make sure that we make dua before everything that we do, and especially the dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us. And this is the dua, Bismillah, before starting wudu. And not only before starting wudu, before starting any deed, any mubah thing, any rightful, lawful thing, anything, drinking, eating, going out of the house, getting into the car, playing, whatever. It's a dua that we add that, and it's also a filter, as I said, that saves us from doing any sinful act. We should get into a habit of saying Bismillah before doing anything, quote unquote, anything, or everything, I would say. You should make a habit of doing that. As I mentioned last time, taking off clothes. When we say Bismillah, then it becomes a shield. It protects us from the jinns. And going to our spouses, say Bismillah. We're not animals. We are believers. We're believers. So we act like believers. And we should realize that, all what we are here for is for Allah. We exist because of Allah, and we're going back to Allah. And we have to live a life for Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should get into a habit of saying Bismillah. So when we start wudu, start with Bismillah. That's a dua to invoke the mercy and the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into that act that we are going to do, so that it can bring in the light, that nur, into our hearts. It will become a source of the forgiveness of our minor sins. It will become a source of us becoming nur. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq, that we be able to live like a believer, and we make dua for everything. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything, and the biggest thing that we can get is the mercy and the blessing of Allah ta'ala, without which we can't even move an inch. Without which we can't even move a little, without which we cannot even take a breath, we can't even blink our eyes. So we should get into a habit of saying Bismillah and asking Allah ta'ala for everything that we are in need of. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.